What started as a routine bar incident quickly spiraled into something way bigger. Shia LaBeouf's February 2026 Mardi Gras arrest didn't just end at being escorted out, it escalated into a viral, physical altercation that grabbed headlines everywhere. This situation soon led to multiple charges, turning a chaotic night into a serious legal issue, and ultimately ending with a formal guilty plea. But how did things go from a simple removal to a full-blown controversy? Stick around to get the full story. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the latest headlines. Shia LaBeouf, former Disney Channel kid, Honey Boy star, and someone who's been in the spotlight for years for both his talents and his controversies, found himself back in the headlines again in early 2026. Everything kicked off on February 17th, 2026, during Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Mardi Gras is basically one big, colorful, slightly chaotic festival, and it literally means Fat Tuesday in French. Now, if you know anything about Mardi Gras, you already know the vibe. Loud, chaotic, crowded, and a lot going on. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, things escalated. What started as a night out turned into a physical altercation near a bar in the French Quarter. Police got involved, and LaBeouf was arrested and charged with 2 counts of simple battery for allegedly assaulting 2 men. Shia LaBeouf, best known for his roles in Transformers 2007 and Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull 2008, was initially released on bail after his arrest near the historic French Quarter in New Orleans. But what really pushed this into the spotlight was the footage. Video from February 17, 2026 shows LaBeouf shirtless outside a bar, caught in the middle of a chaotic altercation. In the clip, he's seen shoving one person to the ground and striking another in the face, with police reports later noting that the hit may have been strong enough to potentially dislocate the victim's nose. And it didn't stop there. According to authorities, LaBeouf also repeatedly used homophobic slurs, including during the arrest itself, which is what sparked a lot of backlash and added a more serious layer to the situation beyond just a physical fight. When it came time to face the charges, LaBeouf chose not to fight it. He pleaded guilty to 3 counts of simple battery, and the court handed down its decision. Orleans Parish Judge Juana Marine Lombard sentenced him to a 6-month suspended sentence along with 2 years of probation. So while he avoided jail time, he's still under strict legal conditions. As a part of that, he's also been ordered to stay away from both the victims and the bar where the incident took place, a clear boundary set by the court moving forward. Now, from the defense side, his attorney, Sarah Chervinsky, framed things a bit differently. She emphasized that LaBeouf wanted to take accountability for his role in what happened, but also described the situation as nothing more than a minor Mardi Gras bar tussle. She further stated that investigators found no evidence suggesting the incident was motivated by bias or prejudice, despite the controversy surrounding the language reportedly used. But bystanders caught videos. Clips started circulating online almost instantly, not just of the incident itself, but also footage of him earlier that night, just walking around the French Quarter. Within hours, it went from a local situation to something everyone on the internet was talking about. Now, here's where things start stacking up. He was released shortly after the arrest and posted a $100,000 bond, which meant he was out while everything continued legally. But more than a week later, another twist. Police issued a second arrest warrant connected to the same incident, adding another simple battery charge to the case. So now, what started as one incident had turned into multiple charges, and the situation was clearly getting more serious. And even before that second arrest came into play, the court had already stepped in. Following the first arrest, a judge ordered him to go back into drug and alcohol rehabilitation, clearly treating the incident as more than just a one-off fight. It was a signal that the court saw a pattern that needed to be addressed. But just days later, LaBeouf himself pushed back on that idea. In an interview with journalist and YouTuber Andrew Callaghan, he made it pretty clear that he didn't believe alcohol was the root of the problem. In fact, he openly said he didn't think rehab would actually help him. According to him, what led to his behavior during Mardi Gras had more to do with anger and ego than drinking. Now, that interview definitely got people talking. During the conversation, LaBeouf made comments about feeling uncomfortable in certain situations, including remarks about being around gay men that many people found offensive. The statements quickly sparked backlash online, especially given the context of what had already happened during the incident. To his credit, he later acknowledged that what he said wasn't okay and took responsibility for those comments. But by that point, the damage had already been done in the public eye. And honestly, this all ties into a bigger picture, because this isn't the first time LaBeouf has had legal issues or public controversies. Over the years, his career has been marked by a mix of critically acclaimed performances and very public run-ins with the law. Back in 2017, for example, he was arrested in New York City on suspicion of assault during a live stream incident. Later that same year, while filming The Peanut Butter Falcon in Georgia, he was arrested again, this time for public drunkenness, along with accusations of disorderly conduct and obstruction. That case ultimately resulted in probation. So when you look at everything together, the 2026 Mardi Gras incident doesn't feel completely isolated. It feels like a part of a longer, complicated pattern. And that's what makes this whole situation so layered. On one hand, you got someone acknowledging their mistakes and taking accountability in certain moments. On the other, you've got repeated incidents, controversial statements, and questions about whether the root issues are actually being addressed. Which leaves people asking the same thing over and over again. Is this another cycle or a turning point? And honestly, that's still up in the air. Instead of fighting everything in court, LaBeouf made a move that caught a lot of attention. He pleaded guilty. According to his lawyer, this wasn't forced. It was intentional. He wanted to take accountability rather than drag things out or try to fight every detail. And that alone kind of shifted the tone of the whole situation. But then, in the interview, when asked about the court-ordered rehab and treatment, he didn't sugarcoat it. He straight up said that he wasn't into it and didn't feel like that was where his answers were. Not exactly what people expected to hear, especially given the circumstances. At the same time, though, he's also opened up about what happened that night. One of the alleged victims had accused him of making serious threats and using homophobic slurs during the altercation, something that understandably sparked backlash online. And LaBeouf didn't fully dodge that. He admitted he had been drunk. He had felt uncomfortable and like his space was being crossed, but also acknowledged that the way he reacted, especially the things he said, were wrong. And to be fair, he did apologize. He said he wasn't in his right mind, admitted that his words weren't okay, and took responsibility for that part of the situation. It didn't come off as some polished PR apology either. It felt more like a messy, real admission that he messed up. But here's the thing. Some people see this guilty plea and his admissions as a step toward accountability, like maybe he's trying, in his own way, to own his actions. Others, they're more skeptical. They've seen similar cycles before and aren't convinced this time is any different. And honestly, both perspectives kind of exist at the same time. Because on one side, you've got real consequences, legal charges, court orders, public scrutiny. And on the other, you've got someone openly admitting fault, even if it's imperfect and comes after the fact. So after everything that went down with Shia LaBeouf during Mardi Gras in New Orleans, the case has now officially reached a major turning point. First off, LaBeouf didn't try to dodge responsibility. In fact, he made it very clear where he stands. At one point, he straight up admitted, "I am wrong for touching anyone, ever," and basically shut the door on excuses. It was blunt, messy, and honestly pretty final. Now, legally, here's what happened. After pleading guilty to 3 counts of simple battery, the court handed down the sentence. A New Orleans parish judge ruled that LaBeouf would receive a 6-month suspended sentence along with 2 years of probation. He's also not going to jail right now, but he is under strict conditions moving forward. and these conditions are serious. He's required to attend an alcohol treatment program, stay away from both victims involved and the bar where the incident happened, and comply with probation terms over the next 2 years. So while he avoided jail time, this isn't exactly a free pass. Now, here's where things get a bit conflicting depending on perspective. LaBeouf's attorney, Sarah Travinsky, pushed back on parts of the narrative. She described that the whole thing was nothing more than a minor Mardi Gras bar tussle, emphasizing that investigators found no evidence that the incident was motivated by bias or prejudice. At the same time, she reiterated that LaBeouf chose to plead guilty because he wanted to take accountability for his actions, not because he agreed with every accusation being made about the situation. And according to her, he's now trying to move forward. The focus? Family, work, and new creative projects, basically rebuilding and shifting attention away from the chaos of this incident. But let's be real for a second. Even if the legal case has reached a resolution, the conversation around it doesn't just disappear overnight. Between the footage, the allegations, the statements, and LaBeouf's own admissions, this is one of those situations where multiple things can be true at once. Accountability, controversy, and public scrutiny all exist side by side. So, where does that leave things? Legally, it looks like this chapter is wrapping up with probation, conditions, and a line drawn, at least on paper. But in the court of public opinion, yeah, that's still very much open. People are still debating it, breaking it down, and not letting it fade anytime soon. And for Shia LaBeouf himself, this feels like one of those crossroads moments. Is it another loop in a pattern we've seen before, or is it actually a turning point? Only time's gonna tell, but one thing's for sure, this whole situation, it's sticking in people's minds for a long while. What do you think? Real change or same cycle? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like, and don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns like this.